Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with?
And welcome everyone to the Man Cave. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season number 1, episode number 4, the last one of the month for January. And waiting in the green room is my good friend and fellow collector, Mannie Gentile. So he's been on our show about a year and a half ago. I had him on, and we've hooked up again at the Gettysburg Toy Soldier show this past year, and he was willing to come back on the show and talk again. So we're going to do a quick 1-hour interview with my buddy Mannie, talk about toy soldiers and other things. But first, I want to say hi to everybody that showed up in the chat room already. We got Big Boss Jack. How you doing tonight? Stacy Armstrong, once again. This is not the 1/6 scale stuff, but you can join us. Joseph Baker, we're looking to get him on in a couple weeks. So he is the toy soldier photographer, and we definitely want to get him on soon. Murray Corrigan from Canada, thanks for joining us tonight. Yes, I just dropped my video on the pirate ships conversions to 1/32 scale. So if you guys haven't seen the new video that I just put out, make sure you check that out later. The 1/32 scale conversions from the Playmobil. Let's see who else is with us tonight. Stacy Armstrong. I think I covered everybody so far. If you're out there and you got questions, Ronald McDonald from overseas. Thanks for joining us. So, all right, I think I caught up on the chats. So again, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, this is the TST Toy Soldier Tuesday, and waiting in the green room, and I'm going to bring him in right now. I'm not going to leave him hanging. My buddy Mannie. Hey, Mannie, how you doing, brother?
Good, Paul. How are you?
Glad you came back. I know it's been a while, but I'm sure you got some new stuff for us since you talked to us last time, about a year and a half ago.
I do. And I'm happy to be back. It's great to be back, Paul.
Thanks, man. So I got some people in the chat room here. I know they're part of my 1/6 scale guys, and I've converted them over. I'm starting to talk them into the 1/32 scale. I told them we're just as cool as they are, so they're checking it out. So they probably didn't see you last time on the show. So why don't you give them just a little quick background of you, or maybe your channel or where you're located. If you want to give that out, that's totally up to you. But
sure. I live in Boonesboro, Maryland. But I call myself a Michigander. That's where I came from about 18 years ago. And I have been a toy soldier enthusiast literally my whole life. My mother got me my first cheapy little MPC toy soldiers, and there was no turning back. Then when I was 10 years old, my folks got me the Montgomery Ward's Lewis Marks Giant Blue and Gray. And that same year, my dad took me to Gettysburg from Michigan, and that had everything to do with the career I just retired from, and that was a U.S. park ranger at Civil War battlefields. So those things were all connected, and this is something that I tell parents regarding their kids and toy soldiers. You never know what kind of spark this is going to ignite in this kid. It might get them very interested in history, as it did with me, and maybe even lead to a career.
Yeah. I was wondering if you're going to talk about what you did. I didn't want to ask you, but I appreciate you bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
And what battlefields did you work at before we move on to other stuff?
I spent 8 years at Antietam National Battlefield, which is just 14 minutes down the road. And that was a great 8 years. Did a lot of cool stuff there. Learned a lot, and met a lot of people. Gave a lot of programs, thousands of programs. And then I went to Washington D.C. to the National Mall for 6 years, and that was a drag. Then my career ended at Monocacy National Battlefield. I did a very short tour there. It was great being back on a battlefield.
Monocacy? I'm not familiar.
Monocacy, the battle that saved Washington, D.C. It's right outside of Frederick, Maryland.
Oh, really?
July 9th, 1864.
Not familiar with that battlefield. I'm going to have to check that one out.
It's a great story.
Yeah. So mostly Civil War era stuff. Is that your
Yes.
is that your
Civil War.
forte?
Yes. I'm what they refer to as a cannonball ranger.
Cannonball Ranger.
Cannonball ranger. Yeah.
Well, you got two fellow Michiganders here. Adam LeMay, he said he's from Montrose, Michigan.
Montrose, that's right down the road from where I grew up. I've got a cousin who works at the bank in Montrose.
And Mr. Stacy Armstrong. I'm not sure where Stacy's from, but he's one of my guys. He's also a Michigander.
Well, Stacy, chime in and let us know where you're from.
Yeah. So, well, again, I'm glad you're here. And man, where do we get started? You want to talk about the helmets first? You want to talk about toy soldiers first? I know everybody in the chats that haven't seen you before is like, wow, look at those helmets! Look at those helmets behind you. I'm like,
the helmets are like that 1,000-pound elephant in the room, so I might as well.
Yes. Why don't you start off with that? And
I've been collecting helmets since 1971. I was a young sailor stationed on the island of Guam, and I was boonie stomping or hiking with a bunch of friends. We found this little cave. The little cave was only about this big around. We crawled back into it about maybe 100 feet into a hillside, and I found my first helmet. It was a Japanese Type 90 helmet. It was essentially a helmet-shaped piece of rust. I got it right over there. And that's what fired my imagination, and I've been collecting ever since.
And what eras? I know you told me about that last time, but you
20th century.
All 20th century. Right?
20th century, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oldest helmet would be what? That first one you got, or you have older ones?
1912 German Pickelhaube with the little spike.
Okay. And your latest one?
Latest acquisition, something I've been after for a long time. Argentinian Marines from the Falklands or Malvinas war period.
Okay.
So I was happy to get that one.
That was one of your on your wish list?
That was on my wish list for a long time. And I'd say the past 2 years, a lot of wish list helmets just sort of came my way. And it really, I'll say, it sort of finished off the collection. I'm really not looking for anything anymore. I've reached the carrying capacity of 159 helmets. That's what the walls will support.
159.
Yeah, and I have pretty much everything I want. I'm very content with it. And the collection brings me a great deal of joy. It's
sure. Collect what you like, man. That's what I always say. Collect what you like, man.
Exactly.
You know? Stacy said he's from Bay City.
Bay City, Michigan. That's right next to Saginaw, which is where I was born. And I got a good friend in Bay City named Ed Chaprinsky. You've probably heard of him in kind of a disreputable way. He's a defense attorney, and he's a great guy. So, yeah, Bay City, I know. Bay City, Saginaw, Midland, the WNEM Channel 5 area.
See, you got friends already. You didn't even know. See?
That's right.
Well, since we know you got the Holy Grails already for your helmets, is there any Holy Grails for your toy soldiers while we're on that subject? Is there anything you're still looking for there?
No, nothing. I go to the toy soldier shows now, and I'm not shopping. I'm just visiting with people and looking at cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because, at age 72, with the house that's 800 square feet, you get to a point where you're just done collecting, or you've got to start throwing a whole lot of stuff away.
Yeah.
And I'm at that point, and fortunately, I'm very content. I'm very content with what I have, and I feel like the collections are finished now, and it's just great. So now
what's the square footage of the room you're sitting in right there? Is it?
This room is about 12 by 12.
And you have the helmets going all four walls?
All the way around, yeah.
All the way around?
This is one of two rooms with helmets.
Oh, okay. So 159 helmets are within 2 rooms.
Right.
So your wife gave you 2 rooms in the house, is what you're saying.
My wife, God bless her, gave me the whole basement. The whole
Wow.
basement, yeah. And I got to tell you something. Okay, guys, be envious of me. She really encourages my hobbies.
That's good, man.
It's
That's good.
fantastic.
Yep.
Just fantastic.
So, so explain to people about your toy soldiers and where you keep those. Not that you have to go into big detail, but I've watched some of your channel on your YouTube channel and how you restored that
That little
shed.
shed. If people go to my blog, can I plug my blog?
Oh, absolutely. That's what you're here for, man.
toysoldiersforever.blogspot.com. Just shop around on it. And there's a lot of pretty cool stuff, including the transformation of my toy soldier studio, which started out as just this little 12 by 14 shed with bare stud walls. And I pretty much transformed it into a space that is even nicer than my house.
I know. I like it.
That's where most of my toy soldier stuff is. I've got an annex down here in the basement, including the big toy soldier table, the big 6x4 table where all the Civil War scenarios happen in the photography. So I have those 2 areas where I get a lot of work done. And this past year, last year, I completed my Battle of Navarone series for the blog.
Love that series, man.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
It was very gratifying. I enjoyed it very much. And it was, I think it was a 5-year project that all came to culmination, what I had been working toward last year. And I think it made for 3 really meaty blog posts, including the final one, the whole big battle, which was like narrative supporting over 100 photographs. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
You do some cool photo stories. Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul. I really enjoy it. Enjoy it immensely.
Now, you were talking last time on your last video. I thought you were working on a Guam one. Did that get anywhere? Or are you still working?
Battle of Guam. Okay.
Battle of Guam. Yeah.
I wish I never have mentioned it. The Battle of Guam is going to happen.
Okay.
Sometime before I die. Okay. It's going to happen, but not soon. I'm working on the Battle of Guam frequently. I'll pick up, like right now, I'm working on this bamboo hut that'll be for the Battle of Guam. So it's going to come together much like the Battle of Navarone, where I make these different components and get these things assembled, and it's a go time. Suddenly, okay, let's do the battle.
Yeah.
But the Battle of Guam was so big, unlike Navarone, it is going to be many, many, many installments. And I've decided they're not going to be sequential. There's no point in that. They're just going to, vignettes, that's the word. They're going to be vignettes for the Battle of Guam.
But you do mostly pictures, not video, right? Or now you started to do a combination of both?
I like doing overall, like with Navarone, I just did this overall introduction to the setup and all that kind of, just to pique people's interests. And the video is very popular. But then it also gets people to tune into the blog. And again, I'll say toysoldiersforever.blogspot.com. And it developed a good critical mass. And I had a lot of people swing by, and still do, for the Battle of Navarone. Yeah, that was a big deal, and it was fun. And frankly, I'm glad it's over. And what happened to Navarone? Baby, it went to a dumpster.
No.
Yes. When I'm done with it, it is gone.
You got rid of the mountain and everything?
The mountain I kept. I'll probably give it to a kid. But all of the styrofoam terraforming and stuff that, gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's something new.
I do the same thing. You know, you can't keep it forever, and you got so much room, and I mean, you've
only got so much room. And I thought I'd use a lot of that Navarone landforms and stuff and repurpose it for the Battle of Guam, but it would have had me going in directions I didn't want to go in. I just want to start fresh from scratch.
Start from scratch. Yeah. 3.75 deep dive said his pops was in Guam during World War II.
Oh, was he now?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And my buddy Stacy from Michigan wants to know if you'll adopt him, an older son, he says. So
yeah, come on by, Stacy, but you're going to have to do all the yard work. Okay.
He's probably in his 50s. I don't know if
We
you.
cool with that, Stacy? You're doing the yard work. You're painting the deck. I'm
There,
not.
there you
Okay.
go.
Adoption is on. Hey,
So
want to see something I've been working
I
on?
was just going to say, do you have anything to show us up close? Yeah.
Yes. Um, those who follow my blog know that I have made in the past, I've made a lot of fun of BMC Civil War figures. Okay. Their Civil War figures are not their strength. I mean, BMC is putting out, I'm going to say it, great stuff now. Great stuff. They're going to be
Yep.
looming large in my Battle of Guam scenarios. So they make great stuff. But their Civil War figures were just like troglodytes.
Oh yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But the thing they did really well in their Civil War series was their historic buildings.
Yep.
Meade's headquarters, Burnside Bridge, Dunkirk Church, Lee's headquarters, those things. Because those buildings are so versatile
Yep.
for conversions. And I want to show you a couple.
Yep.
This is the stock BMC Meade's headquarters, the Mary Leicester cabin. The same thing you can see at Gettysburg.
You did a little weathering on that.
I did weathering, painting, just to make it look better. Lifted the corners of some of the shingles.
Did you glue it together, or did you just?
I welded it with a soldering iron.
Okay.
It works really well, but the fumes are killer. So this little simple building is great as is, but you can do so many things with this building. I'll show you one in particular. From the Meade's headquarters, I made this little industrial building, this little forge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Has this clear story with little windows and big double doors and this nice big forge hearth with the smokestack. You can do this with the BMC buildings easily. They just really lend themselves to these conversions.
So I see the building. How did you get that top part on there with the other
clear
windows?
story?
Yeah.
Frankly, this plastic that they use is so easy to cut and reassemble. These are portions of these windows are from the Lee's headquarters.
Oh, okay.
These buildings are all made out of a combination of buildings. I'll show you.
I see. Okay.
Show you one right here. This is one that I'm working on now. And it's for, in my Civil War scenarios, I often have this place called Greenbrier, Maryland, which is a little fictional town where many of the battles happen. This is going to be the Greenbrier General Store and Post Office. You can see these two elements.
Yep, I see those two pieces.
Meade's headquarters. And then the rest of this is their Robert E. Lee's headquarters. The Robert E. Lee building is their weakest one. It's not very good. The scale isn't good, and it's not an interesting building.
Yeah.
But you can cut it up and use it for other things. I've made barns out of Lee's headquarters, all kinds of cool stuff. It's the Lee's headquarters itself is great as raw materials.
Joe Baker has a question for you. He said,
"Hey Joe, what is it?"
He says, "Could you ever get the bunker church to fit together?"
I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I don't think anyone can. And so often those kits are warped when you get them.
I
Hey,
have
by the
one.
way,
I have one. I've never put it together, but I have one.
who among us, by the way, I send this out to your audience, who among us was actually married in Dunkirk Church? Oh, I believe that was me.
I was going to ask.
Yeah,
Well, you worked the battlefield. You sure you had access to it?
We met at Antietam. I proposed at Antietam. We married at Antietam.
Wow.
What a
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
So I've been having a lot of fun with converting these BMC buildings. That's a summertime job though, because I use a soldering iron to melt the plastic and sort of weld the pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And you have got to do that outdoors.
Sure. Yeah,
the
absolutely.
fumes that this plastic produces are just incredibly toxic.
Are those the only ones you have right now in front of you?
I've got another one. It's this making a Pennsylvania bank barn out of a couple Lee's headquarters. And I think it's going to come out kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, you were saying about BMC being so big and so cool. I have Jim Imel. He'll be on next week from BMC.
Cool. Jeff?
Jeff, I'm sorry, Jeff
Yeah,
Almo.
Jeff Imel. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be on the show next week as our special guest. So,
Okay, extend to him my apologies for always ragging on his Civil War figures.
well, he'll confirm with you. I don't think he carries those now. I think that's all Americana.
That is Americana.
And
That is Americana.
yeah, he doesn't care because I even asked him. I said, "Where's I needed a Mead building he doesn't carry it. That's all." The Dunker Church, he said, is all Americana.
Yep, all Americana.
So
And I
you
used
go to
to
Americana's website and they don't have them up. So I don't know. They're hard to get now.
I used to get all of mine from the bookstore at Antietam because I got a discount.
Yep. I
And
saw it when I was there. Yeah.
and it was great. I had a big tote full of unassembled BMC buildings. And boy, did I get a lot of mileage out of those. And I got them for next to nothing.
Yeah. So now those you keep, right? You're not giving those out to little kids, are you? All those BMC buildings you're making?
I'm not. I give out toy soldiers all the time.
Yeah, I know.
I keep little cartons of toy soldiers
Yeah.
set up to just give to interested kids because, Paul, frankly, that's how we're going to keep the hobby alive. I mean, us old guys, us old dinosaurs are kicking the bucket left and right. And if the fascination with toy soldiers is going to continue, we've got to bring along kids, boys and girls, and
Absolutely.
get them interested.
I mean, like we talked about it backstage before we started tonight when we were at the Gettysburg show. I could have counted kids on one hand.
I know.
That was there. I was there the whole day. So
it's I think once kids get toy soldiers into their hands, they become fascinated. But I think it's something they just don't think about because their parents were much younger than I. They weren't brought up on toy soldiers either. Maybe G.I. Joes, maybe action figures, things like that. But the old classic 1/32nd scale toy soldiers, those have fallen by the wayside. And that's why my hat is off to Jeff Imel for keeping the dream alive.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping the dream alive. I mean, now they picked up Timmy stuff.
And he makes his product affordable.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic because you've got all the connoisseurial companies, all the pewter companies, William Britton's and others.
Yeah.
Those aren't forget. My breakdown, the difference between a military miniature and a toy soldier is you don't mind throwing dirt clods at toy soldiers. That's the breakdown for me.
Yeah.
So but Jeff keeps his toy soldiers affordable and that's another thing that'll help get them in the hands of kids.
Yeah. You don't see him on the spindles checking out of registers anymore.
No, oh God, remember those days?
I remember grocery stores had them. You walk
grocery stores, Paul. I got so many toy soldiers and cannons and vehicles at grocery stores. When I was a kid,
I don't know that.
Strolled on memory lane. I lived in Saginaw County, Michigan, and we lived out in a rural area. So twice every summer, we'd get to go into Saginaw, 13 miles down the road for our glasses appointment and our dental appointment. And my mom would always leave enough time so we could visit Kresge's and Woolworths, which were right next to each other. And they had the classic dime store toy departments. All this Marx stuff just everywhere. Yeah. Topper, everybody was there. Mattel, it was fantastic.
Trying to catch up with some of these chats here. David O'Rourke said the same thing about, BMC. I mean, that was a good starter set. Toys R Us carried those and stuff, and kind of got kids into it. But yeah, you don't see them on the peg warmers anymore.
And Deep Dive says something interesting here. He says it's more appealing for today's kids to play soldier in Call of Duty. I completely agree with that.
Sure,
I completely agree because with toy soldiers, it is entirely based upon your imagination.
Yeah.
And on a computer game, you have all that electronic support,
Yeah.
I'm shooting a gun. I have this first-person shooter view. It's very exciting, very compelling.
Yeah. Instant feedback. You don't have to think.
Yeah.
It does it all for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, takes the pretend out of it. That's for sure.
Remember the old 3DO game, Army Men, that came out?
Oh, yeah. Computer-based game, yeah.
Yeah, Green Army Man.
Yeah, green versus tan. Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought that was going to ignite in the minds of children again, classic toy soldiers. That and the movie Toy Story with the
Toy
little
Story. Yeah,
green.
I was just thinking of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought something. I thought something was going to happen with that, but just didn't catch on.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm trying to think of the questions that I asked you last time and not this time.
Say,
Try.
say to me, what toy soldier stuff are you doing right now?
What are you working on right now, Manny?
What, Paul? I'm so glad you asked. Okay, check this out.
You can run the
everybody.
show by yourself. I don't need to be here.
Ah,
Oh man, that's not 1/32 scale. That's huge.
no, this is 1/16 radio control Pershing tank. I've gotten a Pershing and a
Wow.
Patton. And because of these little guys, I am saying they count as toy soldiers. You know,
There you go.
a lot of toy soldier people will say, no, that's radio control. And a lot of radio control guys will say, no, that is not toy soldier. But I, Manny Gentile, am the arbiter of all things toy soldier. And I am saying officially, this is toy soldiering. But these things are so much fun, Paul.
That was
And
the one you posted a video on your last website, on
yes,
your YouTube
yes,
channel.
I posted the video.
You had 2 of them, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I have 2. And it's kind of fun because I'm on Facebook. I'm in some of these RC tank groups, which are fun.
Yeah.
And I got this tank because a friend of mine in West Virginia, an old park ranger friend of mine, he lives about 30 minutes away. He was posting on Facebook, videos of his tanks. And I thought, Jesus, I've always wanted one. I'm 72 years old. What am I waiting for? So I got a 1/16 Heng Long Sherman, and I had a ball. And the wife of a friend of mine, another park ranger friend, saw it, and she got one for her husband, who is also a law enforcement park ranger. So then there are 3 of us, all within this tight radius. Now a 4th friend, also from Antietam, has gotten Russian T-34 from the same company.
That's cool.
So these guys on the RC tank sites are so envious of me because they're saying, I've got to drive 3 hours to get to another guy with a tank. I've got I got 3 other guys within, a 30-mile drive. One guy's 3 minutes from my door.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's completely fun. The detail on these is wonderful. And just like any model kit, the fun is in the painting and detailing because they come pretty plain.
I was going to say, it wasn't a model. You didn't have to build it, did you?
No, you didn't have to build it. But
Yeah,
I got, all these aftermarket components that I got and all the painting and weathering and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keeps me real busy. And plus, the company that makes these, they're really upfront. I mean, they make it very clear. This isn't a toy. Don't get these unless you have good manipulative ability. Man, that is no kidding. I've had these tanks opened up 50, 75 times just tinkering. You have to do a lot of tinkering to get these tanks running. And that's really a lot of fun. It's half the fun is tinkering with the tanks. I'm going to set this down. And the thing weighs 11 pounds. It's incredible.
Wow. That's cool.
So Heng Long, Henglong, is the name of the company. It's a Chinese company, and they one day will be our overlords. And when we're working in the salt mines, we will have great toys.
Yeah,
so
we'll have good toys. They'll be cheap.
Yep. And for my Sherman tank, I just bought this. This is the gun for the Sherman tank. It shoots airsoft BBs, by the way.
Really?
Did I mention that they shoot BBs?
Yeah, that's funny.
And this particular gun has a recoil function. So I'm going to install that on my Sherman, and they'll have recoil. They do everything, Paul. Headlights, sound effect.
The noise they made sounded realistic.
The engine sound is
the engine sound
phenomenal.
when you on your video.
The exhaust smoke, the sounds of elevating and depressing the gun, the sounds of the turret rotating, just they are phenomenal.
That's
and
awesome.
You open it up and it is full of electronics.
Yeah. Nice.
So that has been a lot of fun and a very unexpected change of pace. This just poof came out of the blue.
And you're not getting much snow there, are you? I mean, you can take them out now if you wanted, right? Or
That Pershing, that Pershing is what is called a pavement princess. For as
pavement
big
princess.
and beefy and robust as it is, it'll stall out in the snow immediately. It gets grass and leaves caught in its sprockets and stalls out and whines. Meanwhile, the Sherman will go anywhere and do anything. This
Ah.
humble little Sherman tank. So they're 1/16th scale, very meaty, and a lot of fun.
Deep Dive said he just got the long Sherman and recently got the Stewart.
The Stewart, I looked at that Stewart, and maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But the Stewart doesn't have what's called proportional speed. It's just fast or slow.
Hmm.
And both the larger tanks, they have proportional speed. You gradually work from 0 to top speed. So the speed is very realistic.
Nice.
And the Stewarts that I've seen, and maybe your viewer has a different one, but the Stewarts that I've seen just race around like little gerbils who are on LSD or something.
Hey, what's the best and worst thing about collecting? Whether it be your helmets, whether it be toy soldiers.
The best thing about collecting is the hunt and the joy.
Yeah.
The worst thing about collecting is available space and the nuisance you're going to leave behind for your survivors when you finally kick the bucket.
Yeah.
And, I've said to my wife, I will catalog all of this stuff so that you can get as much money as you can for it. And she says, and God bless her, she says, I don't care. And if she doesn't care, I don't care. A lot of guys get really bent out of shape about, preserving our helmets for our posterity. These are all garden variety helmets. There are millions of these. And what is a helmet but a wobbly dog dish in the final analysis? But it's the
That's
same
about
with the
right.
toy soldiers, and with the pewter toy soldiers, everybody who collects Britain's soldiers, including myself, has an attic full of the empty Britain's boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm keeping those together so that one day I pass away, my wife can call a toy soldier broker and say, come see what he's got. And by the way, I have all the original boxes. So maybe she can make some hay out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have 2 daughters and they have nothing, no concern, don't care. They want me to sell my GI Joes now, and I'm like, hey, I'm still kind of enjoying them. Like, can you wait till I die?
Interestingly enough, Paul, that is how I've gotten quite a few helmets, is from people who say, my kids have no interest in them. I know you have an interest, so I'd like to give this to you as a gift.
Yeah.
That happens, I won't say frequently, but every once in a while. And
Yeah.
I had a guy give me an American M1 helmet from the Korean War last year. It was a similar thing. It was in his family, and none of his kids wanted it, so he gave it to me. I guess I've gotten maybe a dozen or 15 helmets that way, which is a wonderful thing.
What's the Van Pelt helmet? Somebody just put
What?
the Van Pelt helmet. Says
I
I
don't
like
know.
a Van Pelt helmet. I don't know which one's that.
I like your Van Pelt helmet. I don't know what that is. Maybe he could give us a little
Maybe it's from a movie or
a
something.
little more detail. The only Van Pelt I know is Lucy Van Pelt from the comic strip Peanuts. That's the only Van Pelt. So I'm not sure what that means. So, Ronald McDonald, give us a little more of an explainer there. I'm intrigued about what you're saying.
Joe Baker said he had to get rid of hundreds of boxes on his last move. People say that all the time. They come in my garage and they see my GI Joes and they're like, "You took them out of the box? Oh my god!" I'm like, you know what? I collect them because I want them, not because I want to resell it.
I want to play with them. My main concern is playing with them.
I want to touch them. I want to open them up. It's Christmas.
I have to remind guys that they're called toy soldiers for a reason. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how people get bent out of shape with, just with toy soldiers. I mean, you painted Mark's Vintage.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't paint plastic toy soldiers. I mean,
Exactly.
there's millions of them out there, dude.
I'll say this. I'm on a few toy soldier sites on Facebook, and I am gratified with how few trolls I find on those sites. Generally speaking, these are people who are just enjoying the delight of toy soldiers rather than
Yeah.
busting each other's chops for painting figures, things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, with the GI Joe groups that I'm with, I mean, there's some strict old guys that are.
Are there?
It's got to be vintage. Don't give me reissue stuff.
Right,
Don't give me 40th anniversary stuff.
right.
They hate 3D printing because 3D printing's coming and taking over. You
Yeah.
can 3D print anything from the 60s now, and yeah, they are. Oh, they're
No,
haters, man.
nothing is more pathetic than old men arguing over toy soldiers.
Over toys, right? Buddy G says he paints his plastics. And, I never really got into that. Although I got a guy coming on the show in a couple weeks. He paints all his plastics, and he was actually in the chat room.
I started
I'm-
I started painting plastics when I was doing my large Civil War scenarios on the toy
Yep.
soldier table, because I needed poses that weren't available. I had my 3rd Michigan guys, which are all custom made by me, but I wanted some camp life guys to tell the story of a broader story of the 3rd Michigan. So I had these BMC Andersonville guys sitting around a campfire. Cool. I painted them up, and they paint beautifully. And as a result, I painted maybe 150 plastic figures over the years to round out my my pewter guys.
Now, when you say painted, there's 2 forms of painted. Okay,
Toy
like if I just
soldier
take
style.
spray paint and spray them all the same color, that's painted.
I paint toy soldier style. So
Detail, the helmet, everything, the face.
faces,
Okay.
facial features, uniform,
Yeah, so
details.
you're
and
going all
then
out then. Yeah.
I hit it with spray gloss, GLOSS gloss, because
Yeah.
I want mine to look like classic toy soldiers.
the way they were back in the 60s, right?
way they
Or
were back.
50s.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And they look so neat when they're all shiny like that. Oh, and by the way, I give them slightly rosy cheeks too. I love it.
So the Van Pelt helmet is the one from Jumanji. It was a character in Jumanji. I saw that come up.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it's the pith helmet on your top right. Or your left, my right. Turn.
Which
Other
way?
way. Yeah. You're pointing right at it right now, actually. The top left, top right, my right. Yeah. The tan one.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. Looks like a pith.
Israeli Defense Force, M1.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what that is.
That's what I'm thinking he's pointing at, probably.
I do have a German sun helmet out in the other room, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And that, by the way, that helmet, very nice helmet, very desirable in the collecting field. That was one that was given to me. A woman whose husband was a World War II veteran died. And she brought this. I was working in a public museum. She brought this big box in full of helmets and flags and all kinds of stuff. And I said to her, Norma, you can get money for this stuff. She said, look, here's the deal. If you don't take it, it's going out on the curb on Tuesday.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Do you collect anything else besides helmets and toy soldiers? I forgot to ask you.
Artillery projectiles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here. I'm going to move my camera.
Civil War?
I know this is jarring. Let's see.
Let me get you up here.
See all those? There we go.
So not just Civil War there. Those are...
Right. So those are really the only things that I collect. Well, what is a collection? I've got a pretty substantial library upstairs, so I guess I collect books. I have a really nice wood shop, so I guess I collect tools. So I guess a collector is a collector.
But you're not really a toy playset collector like a Marx guy, right? You're not.
No, Paul, I have oh man. Let's back up. I have reconstructed play sets. And one in particular, there's a guy, you familiar with this guy, you see him on eBay? He sells these really beautiful replica playset boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
got one on order right now for $150.
yeah, they're real
From
pricey.
Gene. Yeah.
Gene, yeah. So I've assembled Mark's play sets, a couple pieces here, a couple of nothing matches.
Yeah.
But I've gotten those boxes to put them in. There, look, I have Battleground.
Yeah.
But the one I was real serious about was the classic Mark's Giant Blue and Gray. When I had that as a kid, I remembered it as an enormous playset, vast in scope. Well, now as an adult, looking at, pictures of the complete, well, it wasn't really that big. It wasn't really that big, about 60 soldiers altogether.
Yeah.
So my mission, Paul, was to create or recreate the set of my imagination. So I bought hundreds of vintage Mark's Blue and Gray figures, cannons, limbers, fences, everything.
Build it the way you wanted it, right? Build it the way you wanted
Tons of it. And I bought one of those big boxes from Gene.
Yeah.
I had too much stuff, so I had to buy a second box. But now I have what in my mind matches what I saw as a little kid.
Isn't that cool?
And that was a fun hunt. That took about, maybe 2 years to assemble that. And so that is another, I've got a lot of projects stacked up for the Toy Soldier blog as far as scenarios I want to photograph. But that's pretty close to the head of the line. It's doing the big Mark's Blue and Gray scenario with all of it. And so I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. His boxes aren't cheap. And I'm in a battle with him right now because he's not putting the pictures on that I want.
That surprises me because he's always been very willing to.
Oh yeah, he did for the last. Well, did you see the one I had at the Gettysburg show? It was Pickett's Charge. And
by the way, let me just pause in our forward motion for a second. You did a great job on that playset.
Thank you.
That really caught my eye. I didn't even see you standing there. I was looking at that playset. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, I made the battle boards for it, and then all the figures are a mix between 3D printed stuff that I bought from Speria.
Speria, boy, they make some nice stuff, don't they?
You know what? I'm seeing that should be my next question. What do you think of 3D printing? For 1/32 scale.
I think it's fascinating. I think it's totally cool. I like it.
Do you think it's going to take over and that's what it's going to be now? You're just going to order what figures you want as opposed to getting a bag of figures?
Either one has a lot of charm. There is something really cool about being able to say, I need a guy in a specific pose and to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
And then it's also totally cool to just buy a bag of guys. So I think there's definitely room for both of them. But this whole 3D printing thing is it's just this quantum leap forward. It's amazing, the stuff I've seen.
Yeah, Joe Baker says Little Toy Makers. That's the one. Used to be Nostalgia Toy Box, and now it's a Little Toy.
Right.
Yeah, I probably have 10 of his boxes. So I did some research. I don't know how much you know about, Revolutionary War. Did you cover much of that when you were, or you were strictly Civil War when you were?
Strictly Civil War.
Okay.
Strictly Civil War.
So Chesapeake, Virginia, we had the Battle of Great Bridge. Occurred about 10 miles from my house. So I've been doing research on that.
Oh, cool.
That's really the big battle that kicked Britain out of Virginia up until the Battle of Yorktown. And, there's not that much done on it. And I wanted to build a playset box because this is the 250th anniversary.
Right.
And, I'm hemming and hawing back and forth with Gene. I was like, look, this is the picture I want. Well, I don't know if I can do it. This is the picture I want, man. And so we'll see if he can do it. I know there's a lot of copyright stuff out there, and stuff but I'm like, look, I'm not asking for 100 of these boxes. This is one box for me. Nobody's going to get it.
Maybe he's watching. Gene, just do it, for God's sake.
I already sent him the picture. I was like, here's the picture. Just make it bigger.
Nobody's going to get hurt.
Yeah. So, but I do. I have I did the same as you. I'd get all these bits and pieces, and well, I had some CTS stuff, I'd have some Barzo
Mhm,
stuff, and I'll be like, what
mhm.
am I doing with all this? Well, you buy a Civil War box, and you just build
Buy
whatever
the
you want.
box. You
Yeah,
buy the box, then it all makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Now, do you combine your 54 millimeter with 132nd, or are you a strict
No,
132nd
I'm
guy?
not strict. I'm
Okay.
not strict.
How big will you go up to? Will you combine your 60 millimeter with
I
your?
will go to 60 millimeter,
Okay.
and I'll go down as far as 135th if I
Yeah.
have to. The Battle of Guam is going to be relying on 132nd and 135th.
Okay.
Yeah, but no smaller than 135th.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But I
mean,
will combine them.
yeah. Sometimes you can get away with some vehicles.
Yeah,
But
sometimes you can.
other
Oh,
than
that's
that,
another thing, man. Um, I forget who it is. Is it CTS? I think so. Their Sherman tanks compared to their Japanese.
Chai High tank.
Yeah, I mean the discrepancy in scale
Yeah.
is just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think BMC is probably the closest to what the size of the Sherman really is. Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah. Airfix made one too, I think, didn't they?
that sounds familiar.
They have a Hanomag. They have a half track, German half track,
Right,
and
Hanuman. That's
yeah,
right.
Hanomag. Yep.
Hmm.
So, all right, let me get some of these questions in because we're running out of time already.
What? We
I
just got
know, man.
started.
15 minutes. Tell me about your favorite toy as a child growing up. Doesn't have to be toy soldiers. If it's something else, you just tell me what it was.
It was toy soldiers. It was
Really?
toy
Toy
soldiers. My favorite toy growing up was the Lewis Marks giant blue and gray, which changed my life. That's my favorite toy.
Isn't that something, man?
Yep. Toy soldiers have always been the sweet spot for me.
Give me a good childhood memory with your toys, or again, it doesn't have to be toy soldiers. It
Well,
could
this
be.
this is a sweet memory. This is a sweet memory. My mother bringing home my first bag of toy soldiers, and she said something like, "You may be interested in these." I think she saw something in me, my interest, even as a little kid, my
Yeah.
interest in history. And that got the ball rolling. And my parents, both of them, my dad caught on to the fact that this kid's getting turned on to history. He went out and got the giant blue and gray. And my parents were people of very modest means,
Mm-hmm.
but they still extended themselves at Christmas and birthdays, getting me toy soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fantastic. Just fantastic. I owe a great deal to my parents in how my future unfolded.
Yeah. E4 Airman says Fort Apache. It was his. Yeah. We all had a Fort Apache, didn't we? Of one era or another. I mean.
I I remember from my very early childhood of Fort Apache, um, and it seemed secondhand to me as a little kid. So I said to my oldest brother, like last year, because I'm assembling a Fort Apache. I said, Joe, where? I thought it was secondhand. I said, where did we get the Fort Apache from? And my brother, who's like 82 years old, said, we got it from Santa Claus.
Well, of
Now,
course he did.
yeah, but boy, I think the Fort Apache is just the granddaddy of them all.
Oh yeah, it has to be.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, when you think of Marks, they made so many versions of the Fort Apache. It's
Louis Marks was just a marketing genius,
yeah,
just incredible.
yeah. Let's see.
And I don't, Paul, I don't think we have a corollary to Louis Marks today. You know,
What do you mean?
he was called the Toy King for a
Oh, the
reason.
Toy King. Yeah, no,
Yeah. And I don't see anyone in a comparable position today.
no, no.
But again, the hobby has changed so much. Maybe we don't need that person.
Yeah, unfortunate. Any regrets with collecting? Any regrets? Anything you
One,
bought that you wish you wouldn't have, or
one regret.
yeah,
One regret. There was a time when I was facing a period of or underemployment.
Mm.
And I looked at my helmet collection saying, what's the fewest number of these I can get rid of and still make a mortgage and get a mortgage payment out of them?
yeah, yeah.
One of the helmets I sold, I hate to say it, was a U.S. Army U.S. Air Force flight helmet from the 1950s
Hmm.
that I had autographed by Chuck Yeager.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
I know
I don't even want to ask what you got because it's worth
it, it,
10,
it
10
wasn't
times
it
that
wasn't
now.
enough, you know.
Yeah.
That is my one collecting regret. That's
Uh,
the only one. And I guess if there's only one, that's not bad.
that's it. That's not too
Mm,
bad, but man, what a one to miss. Do you
Yeah,
ever,
I remember.
I guess you didn't get that helmet back, did you?
No,
It's not in your collection anymore, did it?
a friend of mine, and this is like, I don't know, 35 years ago. I was sitting around my little bachelor pad, and a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, Chuck Yeager is at the airport doing the air show." I was
Huh.
like, "Holy cow!" So I grabbed that helmet and a Sharpie, jumped in the car, got to the airport, looked around. There's Chuck Yeager, made a beeline. General Yeager, would you mind autographing my helmet? And he looked a little skeptical because that's back when he was doing endorsements for AC spark plugs. Here's a
Yeah.
guy who every time he signed his name, he's getting $5 million for it.
Yeah, right.
So he's giving me this autograph on this helmet that wasn't his. Thank you very much, sir. Hop in the car and get the hell out of there.
You didn't need proof. You know he signed it. You were there.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Hey, what would you like to see a dealer make that isn't currently available? Anything? Toy soldier wise.
Such a good question.
I mean, I
Um,
guess with 3D printing you can get anything, but I
you
mean,
can get anything, right?
if you you know, BMC, what could they carry that anybody could get that
I don't know what to say. I would like to see supply wagons that are better than the ones that BMC Americana
yeah.
have been putting out. They were very crude. I've made supply wagons and ambulances conversions, but I would like to see things like field ambulances and supply wagons and things like
Mhm.
that. I would also like to see someone put out a better bridge. You know, the Marks Burnside Bridge are classic that we all love. We
Yeah.
love it. But you know, you can't get soldiers to stand up on it because the
Yeah.
sides are so steep.
Yeah, it's too.
I made this, I made a scale to 132nd Burnside Bridge, which is beautiful. And the thing I like about it so much is you can have your soldiers marching over it without tipping over. I would like to see someone make a better bridge.
Well, BMC made one that was supposed to be. Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a million pieces to put together, but
It was the scale was much better for that,
yeah.
but it was a very flimsy bridge. It was
Okay.
just it didn't have much meat to it.
Waco glider. That's what Buddy wants somebody to make.
Oh, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Campfire guys. We don't have enough of them.
Oh,
Everybody does the
who,
shooting figures and the charging figures, but nobody does this
who
the
said
sitting
the
around
campfire?
figures.
That's E4
E4
Airmen.
Airmen,
Hey,
yeah.
E4 Airmen, listen to this. I wanted campfire figures, okay? And I have this thing on the blog called, I think it's Third Michigan, all present or accounted for. And I do this little campfire scene. And these are plastic BMC Andersonville figures
Oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
because they're they're prisoners. So they got
yeah,
no weapons or anything. They're just sitting around in their sack coats. They made perfect campfire figures.
yeah,
Came out really well. So look into that. If they still make it, the Americana
yep,
Andersonville set, if it's still available.
yeah. It came with a little fort too, a little
Yeah, the little stockade and
stockade
the
fort.
guard
Yeah, yeah.
towers.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I made the Monocacy blockhouse out of the Andersonville stockade walls. And that
Hmm.
came out really well.
So now, do you keep one the way it's supposed to be, and then convert 10 more, or what do you do?
Let me think. Let me answer that question. No, only
No,
with the
just that one house that you had, the
just
general.
Meade's headquarters.
Hmm.
Because on its own, it's such an attractive little building.
Yeah,
So I wanted to
yeah, it
keep it.
is. Yeah,
But the Dunker Church is just a big, stupid square box with a roof. It is one
yeah,
of the most unimaginative buildings there is.
yeah. Well, I went through all mine. There's a couple I asked you last time. If you don't mind answering those again.
No, not at all.
Do you remember when you stopped playing and started collecting as a kid? Or did you just
I never stopped playing.
you're still playing now? I know that's how most of us are.
Whoever asked that question, come down to my basement and join me at the toy soldier table as we move these little guys around shooting at each other. I never stopped playing.
Still do the pew pew pew
I
sound.
even make the sound effects. Exactly. My wife
Joe,
will say, "What is going on down
hey man, I'm being a kid.
there?" Mm-hmm.
Joe Baker said he loves your creativity with the conversions on those buildings.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's fun. It's a lot of fun doing that.
Well, Joe's going to come on in a couple weeks and show us how to photograph all of our toys. So
cool.
hopefully he'll give us some background on how he does it, man. Because some of his pictures are just amazing, man.
That's fantastic.
So, well, we're almost at the top of the hour.
Well, then I just
one more question for you.
I want to. Yes.
This is the bad question. Nobody likes to answer it. Where do you see the 1/32 scale in 10 years?
I think it'll still be around, but I think it's going to be high-end connoisseurial stuff for the white-gloved collectors.
Collectors, yeah.
No one's throwing dirt clouds at these. I just to talk with Jeff Imel about this.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him next week.
I just can't see unless kids become interested. Us old kids, we're dying out, and we're taking our plastic with us. So
sure.
I don't know, Paul. I don't know if there's going to be a market in 10 years. Who knows?
Yeah, unfortunately. Like you said, it'll be all 3D printing. You'll just print what you need or what you want for a diorama.
Right, with your own printer that you have.
Yeah, with your own printer at your own house. Yeah.
And may I just one more last time plug my blog?
Oh yeah, I'm going to bring you up big here.
So. Toysoldiersforever.blogspot.com.
Here you go.
Also, helmet lovers, combathelmets.blogspot.com.
There you go.
There you go.
And your YouTube channel is just Mannie, right?
Yeah, I think it's just Google YouTube Mannie Gentile, and it'll all come up.
Yep, it comes up. Yep. Well, Mannie, I want to thank you once again for coming on my show.
Paul, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, man. So I'm hoping to keep the 1/32 scale alive here every Tuesday, Toy Soldier Tuesday. So
very good.
And if you see any guests in the near future and you want to ask them questions, you've got the link now. You can come on in and be a panel member, and
absolutely,
maybe when Richard Conte comes on or Joe Baker, you can.
And thanks to all your commenters.
Yeah, man, we still got 17 people in the room commenting away here. So, yeah, excellent show. Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So, hey, you guys have a great week. And next week, same time, same place. See y'all.
Bye-bye.